Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to the inaugural NIPS Symposium, Algorithms Among Us, the Societal Impacts of Machine Learning. So in the interest of kind of reducing the negative impacts of having the symposium run massively over time, I'll try and start us as soon as possible. That was a joke, so feel free to laugh if you want. Thank you very much. So my name's Michael Osborne, and I'm just here to kind of kick the whole proceedings off. The first thing I'd like to do is to thank our sponsors, and in particular, this symposium would not exist without the incredible support of the Future of Life Institute, who work to promote the development and safety and beneficence of new technologies, especially machine learning. I'd also like to thank Baidu, the Future of Humanity Institute, and the Centre for the Study of Existential Risk. So thanks very much to all our sponsors. So a few admin points. The first is that we're running a fairly tight schedule and there are a lot of you, so we won't actually be taking audience questions throughout the symposium. So instead, what we will do is ask you, if you do have a question, to submit it at the top link on this slide. It's tinyurl.com/algorithmsamongus. So there you can tag a question for a particular panel or particular speaker, and we'll do our best to get to it in the panel discussions to follow. We're also super keen to keep in contact with you after the symposium finishes. So in the interest of doing so, we've left pieces of paper on the seats. Please add your email address to that, or if you'd prefer, go to the bottom of the two links on the slide where you can, in digital fashion, add your email address. We promise not to spam you too much, again, in the interest of reducing the negative impacts of machine learning. But, of course, that will help us to keep in contact after the symposium finishes, and we'd also like to conduct a survey about your thoughts on these issues, which we'll send out sometime in the new year. So I thought I'd also flag up some recent developments in this kind of sphere that might be of interest to you. The first is a new project from the Royal Society on the potential economic and societal impacts of machine learning in the UK. And so you can tell this is a pretty serious and interesting issue if even the Queen is interested. So the Royal Society is particularly interested in hearing from you, the machine learning community. So if you have any thoughts that you'd like to feed into that particular project, have your say at the links that are visible on the slide. And if you can't read that, I appreciate it might be quite small for those of you at the back. We'll try and put the full link up on the website for the symposium. I'd also like to call upon Zubin Garamani, who will tell us a little bit more about another exciting initiative in the UK. And here is Zubin to tell us more.
Thanks, Mike. I'm very excited to be at this symposium. What Mike has called me up here to announce is the launch of a very exciting new center called the Leverhulme Center for the Future of Intelligence, which is just being launched this coming year, thanks to a £10 million donation from the Leverhulme Trust. And this is going to be a new interdisciplinary center to explore the opportunities and challenges of artificial intelligence for humanity. So it's going to bring together computer scientists, philosophers, social scientists, and academics from every one of the relevant communities to examine technical, practical, and philosophical questions artificial intelligence raises for humanity in the coming century. It's a collaboration between the University of Cambridge, with links to Oxford Martin School, the University of Oxford, Imperial College London, and UC Berkeley. But really, it's not meant to be a tribal thing of just a few universities or so on. The whole goal is really to reach out to the wider community of people who are interested in both the opportunities and the challenges of ever-increasing machine intelligence. There are a lot of great people involved in this. The director is Hugh Price, Nick Bostrom, who's here somewhere, I think. Nick is is part of the center, Murray Shanahan, Stuart Russell at UC Berkeley, Adrian Weller, and many other people. So this is a very exciting center, and we look forward to engaging with the wider community to try to think about all of these issues and to try to work towards all the benefits and also think about all the challenges. Great, thanks.
So, thanks very much, Stephen. I apologise for not having introduced you properly. Now, rather than me telling you what this symposium is going to be about, it's my very great pleasure to introduce Tom Dietterich, who is the Distinguished Professor and Director of Intelligent Systems Research at Oregon State University, and of course, AAAI President. So, Tom, please, take it away. And I'll just bring up your slides. Wait. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the very last slide, so let's go back to the beginning. Of course, I think a lot of the impetus for initially launching this and several other events that have taken place in the last 12 months was the declarations by various prominent people, Stephen Hawking, Elon Musk, and even our colleague Stuart Russell, about concerns about the very long-range future of artificial intelligence. Thinking about AI systems that could get out of control and take over the planet from us. So that's one strand that's contributing to this workshop today, and it will actually be the topic of the last section of the symposium. But more recently, there's been a lot of concern about more. It's interesting. So how do I prevent auto advance on a Mac? Yes. On the PC, it was set not to do this, but the defaults are lovely. Okay.
Switch from slideshow to full screen mode.
Okay. Where's my mouse? I don't see my mouse either. Okay.
This is on PowerPoint.
Yes. Mirror show. But it should be under slideshow. It's not saying use timing, so well. Okay, well, so the first set of concerns are very much in the longer term future. There are many concerns that are facing us today, and so if we think about privacy issues, particularly with face recognition, but also with the combination of advances in activity recognition from video and ubiquitous video surveillance, there are concerns about safety. Here represented by the recent sort of beta release of the autopilot for the Tesla, and there are concerns about labor markets and what is the future of employment for humans when more and more tasks are automated by AI techniques. And I don't have an illustration for it, but obviously there are concerns also about law and governance. What kinds of laws do we need for assigning responsibility for accidents that happen? And so on and so forth. And then a sort of third strand of concerns came out of some work that Eric Horvitz and I published in the Communications of the ACM last month, where we focus a lot on the questions of more of autonomy rather than intelligence. Because a lot of I think the long-term concerns and the medium-term and short-term concerns really come to the fore when we create systems like, say, real-time stock trading systems or the automatic pilot of aircraft that are autonomous, even if they're not terribly intelligent. And so one problem, of course, is that there can be bugs in the software. And AI systems, of course, particularly ones trained with machine learning, do not give perfect performance, and we can have errors like this, which perhaps in the hands of an automated law enforcement system might lead to trouble. There are cyber attacks, of course, and AI systems open up new venues for those attacks. There are problems of mixed autonomy when we have, say, autopilot system, but where the human operator needs to take control from time to time. So the control passes back and forth between the human and the autonomous system, how do we make that combined system robust? There's a tendency, I think, among us as engineers to focus just on, say, the self-driving car and not on the reliable car plus human system. And then the last thing is this issue of the computer misunderstanding the user's instructions, which is another way of saying, how does the computer know what is appropriate behavior versus what a person might have said briefly, like, "Bring me some water," says Mickey Mouse to the bewitched broom, and doesn't specify any termination condition. So there's another set of risks that I think will come up today. These are not really so much the risks of AI technology, but the risks to the AI research enterprise. So if fear about artificial intelligence research continues to grow and take root in the mind of the public, we could see research funding cut. We could see corporations that are engaged in AI or associated with it in some way driven out of business. We could see that legal uncertainty about the legal status of deployed AI could prevent the deployment or at least slow it. And one can imagine even the most extreme things. Maybe AI research becomes tightly regulated and can only be carried out in some kinds of safe facilities. Or maybe, in the United States, it might be placed under export control, which would severely limit the nationality of students that could work on it, or it could, in the worst case, even become classified. So today we're going to deal with the three main sets of issues, and then perhaps touch on some of those research enterprise issues as well. So first we'll have some speakers and discussion about near-term concerns, including the kind of software engineering issues I mentioned, privacy, the future of human labor, and maybe some discussion about what are the best applications to be deploying first. Then after a coffee break, we'll come back and talk about human-level AI and perhaps discuss what we might even mean by that term, what technological path might lead us to it, and when. And then finally, after the supper break, we will engage in the longer-term discussion about superintelligence, fully autonomous systems, or systems over which humans lose control, and what research should we do to improve the chances of a good outcome. So the goals of the symposium really are to first help us understand the full range of issues. I think many of us who have been spending a lot of time thinking about these issues still feel like we only understand some of them. And then I think to try to identify what is the research that we as a research community can do that is relevant to beneficial AI. So all kinds of things in the area of safety and robustness and so on. What can we do, for instance, that might help us do a more realistic risk assessment of the loss of control of AI systems? And then perhaps discuss what kinds of policies should be put in place. Do we need something like the underwriters' laboratories to be testing high-risk AI, deployment of AI in high-risk systems to somehow certify its safety? Do we need new laws on privacy and liability? And more generally, I guess, what should the strategy of us as researchers be as we begin to see our research turn into actual deployed systems? So the schedule, you've already heard from me, and next we'll have two more speakers, Eric Brynjolfsson and Ian Kerr, who will discuss various other facets of the sort of concerns of today and in the near term. Then we'll have a panel discussion, the coffee break, and then I said the human-level AI panel, dinner, and then two speakers on the long-term prospects, Nick Bostrom and Percy Leong, and then a final panel discussion. So I guess let's get started. Thanks.
Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.